All right, welcome back to another video, everybody. A few years ago, as I'm sure you're aware of if you're clicking on this channel for the title and the thumbnail, a few years ago, Justin Trudeau was caught basically having Chinese espionage at a lab, a super top secret virus lab in Winnipeg. And the reason that's problematic is because they were transferring information from the virus lab in Winnipeg back to the communist regime of China, which Justin Trudeau has literally openly, publicly admired. Now, the RCMP has conducted an investigation. It took several years, like 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, to actually get access to this information. CSIS has come out, or FBI, CIA, right, of Canada, CSIS has come out and said that, hey, what they're doing is wrong and this needs to be investigated. That's a pretty hefty thing to say against your own government when you're the intelligence for said government. So the Conservatives have been pressing to get this investigation on the road. But Justin Trudeau has done his best to actually block that. Now, why is that problematic? Well, if you have somebody in power, such as a prime minister, who's literally being investigated for a criminal offense, such as treason and allowing espionage from a communist regime such as China, then where does it end? What's he going to get away with? Well, so far he's gotten away with SNC-Lavalin, the We Scandal charity taking donations from ArriveCAN, and now the Winnipeg block and blackface and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. Like, it literally doesn't end. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Today we're looking at a question period highlight of Larry Brock absolutely being Uncle Brock. I like to call him that because he gives off those just really tough conservative uncle vibes, is hounding the Liberals saying, hey man, look, you need to allow the RCMP to investigate this schmuck. All right, we need to get to the bottom of this. Where does it end? If the prime minister can literally exempt himself from investigation, what else are we missing? So before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And I hope you consider sharing these videos because it's really important that normies, right, people that aren't into politics, become a little bit more aware of what's happening, because that's how we're going to get the real change here in Canada. We have to be able to vote our way out. We're not a third world country. We're not going to do anything, weird that we shouldn't, but we have to be able to vote our way out. The only way we can vote our way out is if more people are aware of this level of corruption, of what's happening. And the only way to do that is by presenting people with this type of information. So let's take a look at this question period highlight of Uncle Brock just absolutely obliterating and destroying the Liberals. And you're going to get to see a lot of corruption. Here we go.
Well, common sense conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. After 8 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, he's not worth the cost, the crime, or the corruption. And today, the Commissioner of the RCMP confirmed that their scandal-plagued $60 million Arrive scam app is, in fact, under RCMP investigation. Now, we've seen before this Prime Minister use powers of the executive to try and shield himself from criminal investigations, like he did with his trip to the Aga Khan's Island and in SNC-Lavalin scandal. Both seeing him found guilty of breaking the Ethics Act. Will the Prime Minister fully cooperate with this RCMP investigation?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
No, they're going to try and end it.
Mr. Speaker, not only will the government cooperate with the RCMP at every occasion, in fact, it's the government that referred a number of these cases to the RCMP. My friend has just realized what the RCMP confirmed some weeks ago, that they are looking into the issue of ArriveCAN. Mr. Speaker, our government thinks it's important that the Auditor General's report be followed carefully, and we think it's important for parliamentary committees and other investigations to determine the facts in this issue before we throw mud around the House of Commons.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Vito Lakes.
Well, if the Minister and his colleagues thought that the Auditor General's work was so important, they wouldn't have voted against the audit that the Leader of the Opposition and Common Sense Conservatives voted for. And that's how we found out about this $60 million scandal that lands at that Minister's feet. And now we have the RCMP investigating them. Twice before, the Prime Minister has used the powers of the executive to shield himself from investigation in criminal investigations with the RCMP. Our question is simple this time. Will the Prime Minister interfere in the investigation again, or will he allow the RCMP to do their work?
The Honourable Minister for Public Works.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I'd like to underscore the remarkable work of the Auditor General, her support to the RCMP's operations. Well, as she has mentioned several weeks ago, she's already said this publicly on several occasions. perhaps we could find the member to find places where she said that. She said clearly that she was already communicating with the RCMP to make sure she gets the information.
From Brantford, Brent.
Mr. Speaker, breaking news today from the Ethics Committee. The RCMP have now confirmed they are investigating the $60 million plus ArriveCAN boondoggle. While common sense conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime, this NDP PM is not worth the cost, crime or corruption after 8 years. Will the Prime Minister cooperate with the RCMP in their criminal investigation, or will he yet again try to obstruct?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
Speaker, we know how good the Conservative Party is in providing slogans and doing all sorts of those things. It's a bit strange, however, that this is breaking news, because it's been known for many weeks now that the RCMP and the Auditor General have been working really well together, and they'll be keeping working together really well. That's what their job is about.
About covering your guys' tracks.
Perhaps the minister needs to review the evidence from the Ethics Committee. A two-person consultant company working out of their basement doing no IT work received $20 million tax dollars. Talk about hitting the taxpayer lottery. This sham of a company is already under RCMP investigation. Today we learned the RCMP is investigating this into all kinds of criminality. So I'll ask again, will the Prime Minister fully cooperate, waive all cabinet confidences, or will he hide again and obstruct?
Wow.
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable colleague learned something today that has been known in the public domain for a number of weeks. Mr. Speaker, we have said from the beginning, the government's responsibility is to ensure that taxpayers' money is always managed well. In this case, Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General identified a number of opportunities that needed to be investigated and where the government will follow all of the recommendations. And Mr. Speaker, if people have done something inappropriate with taxpayers' money, they will be held to account.
The Honourable Member from Nunavut.
People in the North are paying enormous amounts for food as the CEOs of the grocery chains make millions of dollars. Nunavut have said for years that Nutrition North is not working and this government is ignoring them. Nutrition North is keeping many Northerners in poverty as the subsidy is going to CEO profits, not lowering food prices. Why is this minister padding the pockets of rich CEOs instead of helping Northerners afford their groceries?
Hear, hear.
Cut off the coalition then. It's not that complicated.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for that very important question. We know that food prices in the North are too high. Affordability is a real issue in the North. Our government is absolutely committed to ensuring that 100% of the Nutrition North retail subsidy is passed on directly to Northerners. We have worked and we will continue to work with territorial governments, with Indigenous partners, and with people who live in the North and the Arctic to bring prices down. There's a lot of work to do. We are committed to getting it done.
Hear, hear.